Welcome one and all to continuing coverage of the 2021 World Series of Poker. Event number 82, the whopping $250,000 buy-in Super High Roller. Final table is here. Ali Najad alongside Maria Ho.
And that makes for an incredibly dangerous player at the final table. And we will see that from time to time. But of course, most of these players very experienced in these situations. And if they want to follow, a standard theoretical approach to these high pressure ICM situations, then you're not going to see a lot of them getting out of line. But it definitely makes for a much more interesting viewing experience at times. But not sure we're going to get that from this selection of players.
Well, I think Mateos is obviously a candidate.
Yeah, but Mateos can do that because he has the chip lead. But if we're talking about maybe seeing kind of a middling stack push back against Mateos, I don't think we will see too much of that.
Or even push back against a shorter stack, Maria, given that obviously the cluster is fairly tight between Tilston all the way down to Davies, as you see the counts at the top of your screen. Tilston with the ace-queen does open to 600,000. It would bring me so much joy to know down there at Great Point Capital, if he wanders into the kitchenette, the break room, someone just goes, "Hey, Knuckles." You know how happy that would make me?
10 seconds.
Unhappiness would rate to be the experience for Johnny Kincaid, however, with the ace-jack suited. He moves all in, and Tilston, pardon me, is going to ask for a count here.
Yeah, just shy of 20 big blinds here. I think ace-queen is just too strong. But again, you don't really want to sacrifice your chip position when you're Tilston and potentially lose this pot and then become the short stack.
1, 2, 3. No, it's
1, 3.
4. Okay, yeah.
How close is it?
4. All right.
I think it's close, but it's a call. I think it's just one of those things that you have to take the spot. Your hand is really good. Again, you may not know too much of what Kincaid's shoving range over your open is, and if it's a little non-standard or deviates in some way from what the appropriate shoving range should be, then I think ace-queen is probably an even better call.
To the flop we go. Tilston looking good. And that fact remains. On the paired flop, though, some opportunities have presented themselves for Kincaid. Over 10 million in this pot. And the ace comes off, so Tilston just needs to fade the jack, which was the case from the onset. Bell tolls for Johnny. Is a hook there on the river?
Oh,
it
my
is.
Goodness. Wow. Stone cold. That is, not a fun feeling there for Tilston.
No open?
Yeah, I think, again, just a function of not sure if he's able to get post-flop with that open, probably expecting there to be some heat with it being Mateos' button here. And again, just trying to save those 2.5 big blinds that he might open to if he's not sure that he's going to be able to get post there. And I understand it.
Seeing Kincaid open a 550 directly behind him, and then Tilston move over the top will obviously leave him feeling quite a bit better about folding those 2 6s. But ironically enough, they were in the lead against both of these holdings. And Kincaid has Tilston dominated.
This is a good shot, bro.
Even if it isn't.
No. No, it's not. It is. I wouldn't bullshit you.
To the flop we go. It is ace high.
You got some ways out.
Kincaid looking very good.
A lot of chop sweats today.
But you heard it. Heath wondering if there'll be a sweat to a chop, which there could still be. Yes, of course, 23% of the time. Queen of the jack could pair. The king would not be good. That would give Kincaid Broadway, and so the 8 on the river does seal Tilston's fate, going from second in chips coming in to now finishing in
You haven't had a big
fifth.
hand yesterday?
Pretty disappointing way to
Haven't had a
collect
big hand yesterday?
$632,000.
You did?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that
this is
ace queen against the ace jack not holding obviously pretty much sealed his fate here, but Tilston always manages to come and play these high rollers on occasion and show up at the final table, and I definitely feel like he will be back again.
All in.
It's time. Oh no, Ben Heath wakes up with 2 jacks.
Yeah, nothing Davies could do off of that stack size and that holding.
Hold on.
Well, the time was right, but
Pretty outrageous
the
hands.
timing was wrong.
What's that?
Pretty outrageous hands
Yeah,
from
those are good hands.
on both sides for the old
Wish my
8 bigs.
7 was a 5.
Davies would like to
King,
get
king,
his
queen,
side card
queen.
working in conjunction with the ace to maybe be able to make a wheel.
Nice and spicy.
Instead, he goes to the flop behind and stays that way as the 10 of clubs works.
No, just ace.
One clap. Luck.
I'd rather just have an ace.
And obviously this pot extremely crucial for Davies, but let's not forget how important this is for Heath to hold.
No added equity on the turn for Seth Davies in the form of a club or a wheel draw. And he is left pulling at an ace and an ace only. Is it there? No. The 5 of diamonds seals Seth Davies' fate as our 4th place finisher. He will take home $930,000. All appendages. You've adorned them all with jewelry.
600,000.
Or
Wow.
shackles, from the sounds of it.
You can shackle me with a World Series bracelet anytime you want. Shackle me with the payout.
That's that. I'm with you on that.
Oh.
1 million tips or no?
No.
Heads up.
Mateos open limp the button. Kincaid says run it. And we have a situation on our hands here as Kincaid has flopped trips 6s. Quickly checks it over to Mateos, who's got Queen Jack for Jackson 6s, a good kicker, and the Queen of Clubs working.
That's 425,000.
Yeah, we'll see if Kincaid wants to respond by fast playing with the trips or not. Of course, you know, there's the obvious flush draw right now.
Ten seconds. Raise it.
Kincaid does indeed check raise. Mateos asking for a count, and this is so much hand with the ace of clubs, Maria. Maybe we opt to flat instead?
Yeah, but I do think having the ace of clubs make it a nice combination to fast play because, of course, you are sometimes representing perhaps the nut flush draw. And so if you know that Mateos can't have the ace of clubs in his hand, then that could potentially factor into Mateos' decision to put you on that type of draw, which if Mateos has a good enough piece, he will have to continue.
Fair point.
Call.
As we see Mateos, understandably, plunking down over $2.5 million more to take the turn. And that turn is clean for both holdings.
All in.
All in.
Kincaid moves all in. Not quite full pot, but still a healthy chunk of change.
And I think Mateos' consideration really just comes down to how often does he think Kincaid will be making this type of play with just a flush draw. I mean, sometimes you don't expect somebody to play, you know, perhaps a Jack X type hand this strong, but what if that was a line that Kincaid could perhaps take with jacks and
6.7?
sixes as well? You know, the queen kicker's good. It's not the best.
Mateos blocking the jack of diamonds is a bit of a concern, is it not? Because we would expect that inferior jacks that pick up a diamond flush draw maybe on the turn would be in the range of holdings that Kincaid would be willing to pile with.
Yeah, for sure. And I think at this point, it's really just down to whether Mateos thinks Kincaid has trips or a flush draw.
Adrian dressing him down there. You can see he's not at all happy with this spot.
You bluffing? No.
Nice fold from Mateos. And I mean, he asked Kincaid if he was bluffing, and Kincaid said no, and I was convinced whether or not I saw the cards. I mean, I thought that that was just a very honest response.
Not sure what the exact high water mark was, but he is working his way back toward it, courtesy of hands like ace-jack suited on the button. And red crab in the pot for Ben Heath.
Ben with about 25 big blinds.
All in.
Re-raise.
Piles it in there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times you're going to get a fold out of the button open, and so that would make it very profitable. And when you get called, you're usually flipping, so here we go.
Jota contra treses.
And Mateos, who had folded that exact ace-jack suited in a different scenario earlier at this final table, does not hesitate to make the call here in this one and finds himself in a pure coin flip.
Man in. Sick flip for all three of us. Man, final
You're
table
not wrong,
as well.
Ben. $10-9-5. Things looking all right for the 2-3s, which jump out into the lead as you see the percentages swinging in Ben Heath's favor, but still 2 to come. The turn is clean, and now the diamond ace and diamond jack melt away from the top of your screen. Mateos with just 4 outs once in a 21.5 million chip pot. Will the 3s hold? They will. And now, for the first time, Adrian Mateos has been dethroned as our chip leader.
Well, it looks like, considering Heath is guaranteed a $1.37 million payout, he's going to pass his good friend Charlie Carroll on that list regardless.
It also looks like we're going to have some blood in the street here, potentially, with Mateos looking down at 2 aces and Kincaid having opened a 1 million plus on the button with 2 9s. We know Johnny doesn't like to muck the good ones.
2.7.
Raise 2.7.
Yeah, especially for 30 bigs effective. Not much room to really get away from 9s. You're not always going to expect Mateos to only have a value-only 3-betting range necessarily in this spot. I think you can count on Mateos to be a little tighter in this scenario just because Heath was behind him to act. Certainly, you know, if Mateos re-raised from the big blind, that may contain a few more loose opens. But yeah, you can't hate on Kincaid for making this play.
Nope. Obviously, the snap call was always of concern for Kincaid, who did not want to see it. Sails in the short stack. 12 million plus, and that is not the look of a man who is altogether pleased, pushing his chips forward, but he did manage to take an ace-jack up against an ace-queen and avoid elimination earlier against Keith Tilston. And really, that was the beginning of Tilston's demise, the 5th place finisher. Will he cheat death once more? No, sir. Top set for Adrian Mateos, and running nines or running Broadway cards. The 10-8 also the only paths to some draw live for Johnny Kincaid. Anything else and he'll be drawing dead on the turn. Hope for a
Okay.
chop. There will be no victory outright, but perhaps a rebate and some extended play as his rail looks on. No 10 on the end. Ace is full for Adrian Mateos.
Good game.
Got a lot of people rooting for Mateos, though. That is the real long and short of that.
Are there Spanish IP addresses attached to those screen names? Can we investigate?
Raise.
Raise 1.4 million.
Well, Heath now trying to get something going as he raises to 1.4 from the big. That's been Mateos' trick.
Call.
But unlike when Adrian puts the raise in and the button folds, he stays sticky with the queen 10. Does not connect on the 5-6-7 rainbow flop. Different story for Heath, who has bottom pair, a gutty, backdoor diamonds.
Check. That's 1 million.
Mateos just trying to get Heath to fold perhaps some of that ace-x, king-x part of his range that he could have raised with, but this is why it's nice sometimes to have these type of lower suited hands in your open range because you have some board coverage, but
Oh my goodness.
eeh.
Heath checking, calling the 1 million, and queen high turns into top pair. And a 5.2 million chip pot. And if the chat felt like Mateos was getting hit by the deck before, they're certainly going to feel that way now.
10 seconds.
$2.8.
That's 2.8 million.
A little north of 50% the sizing from Mateos. But it is a decent chunk of Heath's remaining 7.9, Maria.
Yeah, and Heath, of course, was hoping to turn a little bit more equity
10 seconds.
because obviously this bottom pair is going to be hard to get to showdown with.
Call.
He will find out whether or not that showdown will come cheap as he makes a call, bringing the pot to 10.8 million, and he is unimproved on the river.
Check.
Yeah, and just half pot back for Heath. The 8Xs and the 4Xs, of course, missing with this river.
Love Mateos' table presence, by the way, Maria. Just strictly business. Doesn't really give anything off.
Heath just with a pure bluff catcher, and you know, Mateos started this hand with just a call from the button, and it was Heath who raised it up. So Heath really trying to consider what type of hands Mateos
Oh
would
my
be doing
goodness.
this with, and he does call.
It's over.
Yeah,
I'm off.
Adrian Mateos has won his 4th World Series of Poker bracelet and the 250K high roller, 3.26 million in change. I don't think either of us anticipated that Heath would just make that call right there. He's going to take home over 2 million, but Wow.
Okay.
A big, bright smile and a shining moment in Adrian Mateos' career, Maria. He's your $250,000 Super High Roller champion, and really just one hiccup as he relinquished the chip lead, and then it was fairly smooth sailing from that point forward. Don't forget tomorrow, the $50,000 High Roller, Monday rather. Set your times, set your clocks. In the meantime, on behalf of Maria and our entire crew here in Las Vegas, I'm Ali Najad saying good night. We'll see you later.